Don, it would be interesting, as from my perspective as a client, potentially, to understand you as that third party or that agency. Kind of as I mentioned, you've got the constituents that would be part of this process, and it would obviously be very interesting to understand from your perspective, those three firms or three constituents: the clients, myself in this case, the candidate, and then of course the firm, which would be you. I'd ask you kind of about your thoughts in these areas. And I guess my final thought would be, as the search firm yourself, what's your viewpoint on these models?
Yeah, the third leg of the stool, John, as they say, is the contingency messaging. I often think about, just to kind of play back into what the candidate hears. And the way they're approached oftentimes is what I'm going to call disclose and then screen. So if I'm on, one point about contingency is that it's often viewed by search firms as a foot race, because it is. It's a speed race to get to appropriate candidates to be able to present to their clients. And as such, the notion of disclosing who the client is upfront and maybe creating some kind of image in that candidate's head before firms actually had the opportunity to screen them on what is of interest to them, what is of interest in the work that they're doing today, what would make what do they feel would help make their career better off in the next scenario. So I think that idea of disclosing then screening versus the flip side of that, screening versus disclosing, which is generally what's found in a retained search model. You have to think about those variables. And so, one thing we think about that may be analogous is when you go into a doctor, a quality doctor is going to ask you a series of questions before they make the diagnosis. And so we need to think about it, I think, in those terms. So in contingency, again, to summarize speed rules, it's a bit of really a foot race. And ultimately, I think it's what it boils down to is can a search firm make a placement? So that's really what they're thinking. Can I make a placement with this set of circumstances that the client has put forth?